Accurate analysis of over 25,000 men and women who had experienced failure disclosed the fact that lack of decision was near the head of the list of the 30 major causes of failure. This is no mere statement of a theory, it is a fact. And then it says procrastination, the opposite of decision. Tim Burgess, Think and Grow Rich. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to be here. Do me a favor, punch the subscribe button. Tell all your friends and your family members about this. Today's chapter, we're going through the chapter on decision. This will be decision part 1. This chapter, he calls it the mastery of procrastination. Decision. Now think for a moment before we jump into this. Just think for a moment, how many decisions have you already made today? They're in the thousands if you stop and think. The decision to brush your teeth or not brush your teeth. The decision to comb your hair or not comb your hair. The decision to go right or go left. The decision to fill in the blank. But it's been in the thousands. You didn't have to get out of bed. That was a decision. Watching this video, a decision. Pushing the subscribe button, a decision. So when you get right down to it, everything is a decision? Well, one could say that. The first paragraph, the first thing I said, that was the first paragraph, absolutely word for word. Accurate analysis of over 25,000 men and women who had experienced failure disclosed the fact that lack of decision was near the head of the list of the 30 major causes of failure. This is no mere statement of a theory, it is a fact. And then he says this, procrastination, the opposite of decision, is a common enemy which practically every one of us has to conquer. Now, let's get the word enemy and the whole thought of enemy out of just get it out of your psyche, because let me make something really clear. Every thought has an image that goes with it. Think of an airplane. Boom, you've received an image on the screen of your mind. Think of a hot air balloon. Boom, there's another image on the screen of your mind. So, instead of thinking of procrastination as an enemy that I have to conquer, don't look at it that way. Change your mindset around it. Instead of looking at the procrastination as an enemy, look at the action as a friend and a foe. As somebody that will help you, look at the action, the intelligent action. Look at that. Get our mindset wrapped around that. I truly believe if Napoleon Hill were here today, he would be saying the same thing. Take our mind off of enemy and get it on something more positive to keep us in a positive frame of mind as we move forward. Maybe Napoleon Hill's even talking through me. Who knows, huh? Who knows? But he says you will have an opportunity to test your capacity to reach quick and definite decisions when you finish reading this book and you are ready to begin putting into action the principles which it describes. And I'll say don't wait until we finish the book. And do it now. Make it intelligent action, putting into principles. The first intelligent action would be to complete the 6 steps. That's a decision. And then to recite that 6th step is a decision. To do it at night, to do it in the morning, to do it all day long, to keep it in your mind. And as I'm thinking this, as I'm talking about this, the images are flashing into my mind of my definite major chief aim. My definite major purpose, we're doing that now. Now there's a definite major chief aim and a definite goal to reach that aim while I live my purpose. More on that later. He says, analysis of several hundred people who had accumulated fortunes well beyond the $1 million mark. And please remember, this was 1937. So remember what $1 million was in 1937, and obviously it had a lot more value than it does today in 2022. Accurate analysis of several hundred people who had accumulated fortunes well beyond the $1 million mark disclosed the fact that every one of them had the habit of reaching decisions promptly and of changing these decisions slowly if and when they were ever changed. I'll never forget my first mentor, the person who had, instructed me to get a copy of this book and study every day for the rest of my life. And he asked me that question, but I never learned to reach a decision. I never learned to reach quick, definite, firm decisions. And he gave me a little recipe, and it has worked well for me, and I want to share it with you on how to train yourself to reach a quick, firm, definite decision and stop the procrastination game. Now, some of you might buy into this and some of you will not. And I remember him saying, well, the next time you go to a restaurant, don't look at the menu, just order what you want. I thought that was absurd. Just order what I want. He said, yeah, when you went into the restaurant, you probably already knew what you wanted to eat. Why don't you just order it? He said the menu might confuse you, distract you from away from what you truly wanted. So I thought, what the heck, I'll give it a try. Now remember, that was 1996, 97, I received those instructions from him. I've been doing it that way ever since. I very seldom ever look at a menu. I mean, I might pick it up and just look at it, and then it's like, why? I know what I want to eat. Quick, firm, definite decisions. Remember, he says every one of them had the habit of reaching decisions promptly. Now that does not mean they reach hasty decisions without having all of the facts or all of the knowledge required. Now I know right there some logical mind will go, well, how do you know they actually have what you want to order? I knew what I wanted to eat when I went into that restaurant. I mean, if you go into a restaurant, you generally know what's on the menu. You know what kind of restaurant you're going into. So if you want to go straight literal on me, go there and then by all means keep looking at the menu. Or you can give it a try and see what happens. Just give it a try. He continues and he talks about how one of Henry Ford's most outstanding qualities was the habit of reaching decisions very quickly and definitely and changing them very slowly if and when he ever changed them. He said this quality gave Henry Ford the reputation of being obstinate. Well, it was this quality that prompted Ford to continue to manufacture that Model T. Well, the Model T car, the one that made him famous. And he continued with it on and on and on and on and on and on. And it's even said in here at one time it was noted as the world's ugliest car. The world's ugliest car. However, everybody, all of the advisors, the purchasers, they were all urging him to change it, but he had reached a definite, firm decision to continue. So he did. Now that may have cost him in the long run. But Napoleon will say, perhaps Mr. Ford delayed too long in making the change. But the other side of the story is that Mr. Ford's firmness of decision yielded a huge fortune before the change in model became necessary. He says there is little doubt that Mr. Ford's habit of definiteness of decision assumes the proportion of obstinacy, but this quality is preferable to slowness in reaching decisions and quickness in changing them. Now ask yourself, what habit do you have? I know people, it takes them a week to make a decision about nothing. It takes forever. And we want to get to the habit of quick, firm, definite decisions. Once again, once we have all of the facts or information required to make that decision. And I know right there somebody just went, well, if you didn't read the menu, you don't have all the facts or information required. I knew what I wanted to eat when I went in the restaurant. So I just ordered what I wanted. See, I knew what I wanted. I already know what I want. And that's where you might be confused. You may not know what you want when you walk in. I do at this point through that training. He says the majority of people who fail to accumulate money sufficient for their needs, the majority of people who fail to accumulate money sufficient for their needs are generally easily influenced by the opinions of others. In other words, they don't make their own decisions. And I know right now, everybody probably wants, I make my own decisions. I'm not swayed by opinions. Yes, you are. Please, don't lie to yourself. Yes, you are. You're swayed by opinions. We all are, to a degree. He says, influenced by the opinions of others. They permit the newspapers and the gossiping neighbors to do their thinking for them. Now, make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, most of your thinking comes from your own habitual process of thinking, the habits of the past. The results of the past dictate the way you think today. And if we continue down that path, the results of the future will be the same as the results of the past because the thinking hasn't changed. Think about that one for a minute. He says, opinions are the cheapest commodities on earth. Everyone has a flock of opinions ready to be wished upon anyone who will accept them. If you are influenced by opinions when you reach decisions, you will not succeed in any undertaking, much less in that of transmuting your own desires into money. Now, there is an exception to what he's talking about, and that's the opinions of the mastermind alliance you have formed with perfect harmony. And don't forget the perfect harmony part. The mastermind alliance you have formed with perfect harmony. Those are all opinions, but you're wired together, and everybody has them an opinion, but those opinions are all in harmony with the direction you're going. So that's the only exception I've ever found to that particular statement that he's making there. He says, if you are influenced by the opinions of others, you will have no desire of your own. I remember when I first started following my first mentor, and I did that 96 through 99, late 99, 1996 through late 1999. My family thought I was nuts, batshit crazy, just absolutely off my rocker. They could not understand why I was doing what I was doing. They just didn't get it. And I was gaining the very best success principle education I could have possibly purchased anywhere. There's no school that teaches this that I'm aware of. So, he says, keep your own counsel. When you begin to put into practice the principles described here, by reaching your own decisions and following them, reach your own decisions and follow them. Take no one into your confidence, here he goes, except the members of your mastermind group. Well, what he talks about in chapter 7, Organized Planning Part 1, where we talk about the creation of the plan. And he says to ally yourself with a group of people, as many as may be needed, for the creation of the plans to accumulate the riches you desire. That's your members of your mastermind group. And he says, be very sure in your selection of this group that you choose only those who will be in complete sympathy and harmony with your purpose. Complete sympathy and harmony with your purpose. And then he goes into something that I really didn't want to buy into. I really didn't want to buy into it. I didn't want to, even though my first mentor had taught me that when I started to reach a certain level of success and I kept climbing that, the ladder of success, so to speak, that gives you a visual to work with anyway. He taught me that, some people won't be willing to climb that ladder with me. Some people that I hung out with and want to hang out with, they won't be willing to climb that ladder with me. So I have a choice. I get to make a decision. I can either stay down on the lower rungs of the ladder, so to speak, or I can continue to climb. And that's a decision that each one of us will be faced with. He says, close friends and relatives, while not meaning to do so, often handicap one through opinions and sometimes ridicule, which is meant to be humorous. And we know that happens all the time. Oh, look at him, man. He's trying to try that stuff. Think of the tonality there. Think of the energy that's being conveyed. It's all a belittling energy. It's all a ridicule energy, and they're trying to be humorous about it. Ladies and gentlemen, you see it all the time. Pay attention. Pay attention to this. He says you have a brain and mind of your own. Use it and reach your own decisions. He says this, if you need facts or information from other people to enable you to reach decisions, as you probably will in many instances, acquire these facts or secure the information you need quietly without disclosing your purpose. And then he says something in this next piece that if you'll pay attention, you'll see people do this all the time. He says it is characteristic of people who have but a smattering or a veneer of knowledge. That means just a little bit. To try to give the impression that they have much knowledge. Such people do too much talking and too little listening. Keep your eyes and ears wide open and your mouth closed if you wish to acquire the habit of prompt decision. Oh man, that wasn't me at all. Prior to reading this book, I didn't have any listening skills. I might hear people, but I didn't listen to them, and there's a huge difference between the two. But I had no skills to that. And then I read this, those who have but a smattering or a veneer of knowledge. It took a while to understand what he was saying there. And basically is what he's saying is, if you have just a little bit of knowledge, have you ever come across this trying to know much? And we run into this all the time. I'm a soccer referee, as you know, so we've got to make quick, firm, definite decisions. I mean quick, firm, definite decisions on the soccer field. As a referee, you have to. And it's amazing the number of people who have but a smattering or a veneer of knowledge who want to try to come across and impress others as having much knowledge. And they try to tell one person on the sideline to the other person, and generally this is the parents, not beating anybody up, but no, I'll go ahead. And they're trying to explain one of the laws of the game. And you're listening to it because you're there, you're being an assistant referee, a sideline referee on the soccer field. And you know they don't know what they're talking about. They have a smattering or a veneer of knowledge. And it's almost funny. But what he says here is so important about, keep your eyes and your ears open and keep your mouth closed. We learn much more by listening. Listen, truly listen. We hear with our ears, ladies and gentlemen, these things, but we listen with our emotions in here. There's a huge difference between the two. Excuse me. He says, remember also, every time you open your mouth in the presence of a person who has an abundance of knowledge, all we're really doing is displaying to that person our exact stock of knowledge or the lack of it. He says, genuine wisdom is usually conspicuous through modesty and silence. So don't be afraid to be quiet. I know silence is very uncomfortable in a lot of situations. Become comfortable with it. And I think that you'll find it's very beneficial to just be quiet at times. Make that decision. Become aware. Become consciously aware of what he's talking about. He says, keep in mind this fact as well, that every person with whom you associate is like yourself seeking the opportunity to accumulate money or riches of some sort. If you talk about your plans too freely, you may be surprised when you learn that somebody else has put your plan into action. We've all heard it described as a dog-eat-dog world. So this is where Napoleon's saying, keep your eyes and your ears open, keep your mouth closed. Don't disclose too much of your information. There's no need to. Just go about gathering the information you need, that you require to make a quick, firm, definite decision without getting lost in the analytics of it all. I mean, folks, come on. You could go down a black hole and get lost for a week or two to make a decision about something simple. Stop doing that if you're an over-analytic mind. And I know I'm talking to some of them right now. And you might be even shaking your head. If you're over-analytic, you analyze too much. Okay, make a quick, firm, definite decision once you have all the facts. You don't need to analyze it anymore. It says, let one of your first decisions, right here it is, bold. Let one of your first decisions be to keep a closed mouth and open ears and eyes. And then he says this, tell the world what you intend to do, but first show it. Tell the world what you intend to do, but first show it. My first mentor had something to say about the opinions of others that I want to share with you. And it's something that I've kept with me for all these years, over 26 years now. And it goes along with opinions. And he said, Tim, there's 3 things that one really has to have to reach high levels of success financially. We have to utilize other people's ideas. I mean, very seldom does somebody come up with a brand new idea. I mean, the incandescent light bulb was a brand new idea. The internet was a brand new idea. But remember, it was already here. People discovered it. So we utilize other people's ideas. What we're doing right now, it's not my idea to make the smartphone or the camera that's recording us or the computer that you're watching on or the whatever it may be. That's not my idea. It's not, the internet wasn't my idea. This channel wasn't my idea. So we have to utilize other people's ideas. And then he says you have to utilize other people's efforts. Now, I really don't know how to go through an editing process or anything like that. Ladies and gentlemen, I know nothing about that. I would mess it up. I truly know nothing. I could learn, I'm sure, but that's not what I do. So we have to utilize other people's efforts to get more done than we can do ourselves. And then we have to utilize other people's money. And he said, Tim, even the wealthy people, the people who we assume have all these millions and millions of dollars, and he said most time it's an assumption. You assume, you don't know for sure, but you assume they have millions and millions of dollars. He said even they utilize other people's money. So there's three things we need for success: other people's ideas, other people's efforts, and other people's money. He said all of this can be destroyed by one thing: other people's opinions. And then he said this, and I've never forgot it. He said, why would you care what somebody else thinks when they don't know how to? As always, Joe, thank you. Without Joe, we wouldn't be here. And we love Joe. We love everything about Joe. Joe's a great individual. If you get a chance to meet Joe, take him up, take him to lunch, have some questions well crafted. He'll enjoy it, so will you. He's in West Texas, by the way. I believe it's Fort Stockton, Texas is where Joe is. And he's just a great individual. So thank you, Joe. As always, our desire, one of our greatest desires, is that this day be the very best day you've ever experienced in this game we call life. Yesterday doesn't matter. It's already gone. Tomorrow isn't here. We can only prepare ourselves to receive the day. However, today we can allow to be the very best we've ever experienced. So please do that. And tonight, when you put your head on a pillow, please do so with a mind full of peace. Remember, calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. And may God bless each and every one of you. Have a great day.